It's time for JUCO Jam, presented to you by Dream Big Athletics, hosted by Tad Slowick, an exciting new podcast bringing you all the great action from JUCO baseball. Here you'll find weekly updates from around the country, highlighting the teams, players, and coaches who impact the game at the junior college level. Everything you want to learn about JUCO baseball can be found here and on our website at dreambigathletics.com. There you'll find our weekly team rankings, the top player rankings headed into the spring, and all the news of what is happening in the game at the junior college level. On this show, you will have many guests, coaches, players who will give us insight on the day-to-day, behind-the-scenes working of junior college baseball. And now our host, Tad Slowick.
I'm your host, Tad Slowick, and I will be jamming today with my sidekick, Lou Tempo. Welcome, Lou.
Hey, Tad. Thanks for having me. It's great to be back on JUCO Jam. Very excited about today's episode where we go through the top 25 rankings of Division I junior college. But before we get off into that, let's talk about a few of your honorable mentions that you have on this team report. These are teams that you've identified as up-and-comers and have good rosters, good coaching staffs, players that we'll be looking out for. Tell us a little bit about a few of these teams that have a chance to crack the 25 with a good season.
Well, first of all, putting this list together was crazy because, there's so many good teams in Division I junior college baseball this year. And, just trying not to leave anybody off or not include anybody in the top 25 was very difficult. And, all these teams are worthy of mention. Some of the teams that I think are got a chance to break into the top 25 right away are Alvin. Alvin's got a good club coming back, and they're led by the right-handed pitcher Kyler Menzel. They got some seasoned veterans coming back, so they're going to be a factor. You got Pima out in Arizona in that tough conference out there. They got Wyatt Hardy, Jaden Swanberg, Alessandro Castro. They got some pitching, so that's why I really think that they got a chance to bust into the top 25. If they get crank a few runs in, I think they got the pitching to get things done. Another team, State College of Florida. They got left-handed pitcher Brandon Clark, who's one of the top pitchers in junior college baseball. They got Brian Gomez, Michael Ferret, also right-handed pitcher, one of the top junior college pitchers this year, and then they're led on offense by Kevin Karstetter. So they'll be a real strong team, and I expect some good things from them. The final team I'd like to mention out of that group is Jefferson County out of Missouri. They got a ton of pitching depth. They got left-handed pitcher Dalen Stewart, left-handed pitcher Luke Nichols, left-handed pitcher Jacob Jarvis, left-handed pitcher Jacob Retchen. And they got some pitching. So whenever you got pitching, some good things can happen for you. So those are the teams that I think have a good chance to bust in.
Well, all right, that's exciting news, and we'll look forward to following all of those teams and seeing the great seasons that they're bound to have, and I'm sure that we'll see big things from each of them. Let's get started on this list of top 25. At number 25 is South Mountain. What can you tell us about them?
Well, they got two, again, good pitchers at the top of the rotation with Will Fricker and Cole Kuntz, but they really can swing the bats. They got a shortstop, Easton Elliott, catcher Shea McGann, and then they got a strong outfield led by Cooper Combs and Rhett Hendricks. So they're going to be able to score some runs. If they get even more pitching besides those top two guys, I could see them moving up into the ranks. They could make some noise.
All right. Well, ranked number 24 is Johnson County. How about them?
Studs, lefties at the top of the rotation to, really solidify their team. And, they got a solid lineup and, they should be able to produce some runs. So they're going to be a factor. Tough conference up there in the Panhandle.
At 21, you have New Mexico.
Well, New Mexico's got a couple big, strong pitchers led by Paul Coppinger and Max Swenson. These guys are big, strong, physical guys at the top of the rotation that are going to be a factor for them. They got a strong nucleus in their lineup. They're kind of led by their catcher Luis Gonzalez behind the plate, and I think they got a good chance to do some things this year. They got a tough opening series though against San Jack, so we'll see what they got kind of right away.
At number 20 is Hartford. I know you like these guys, Tad. Tell us why.
Yeah, Hartford out of Maryland there. They were a World Series qualifier last year, made their way there to Grand Junction, and they got bringing back a couple top players, in Trey Cruz. He batted .361 last year, and then Quinn Madden is going to be a big factor for them in that lineup. They got infielders Brody Levin and Dylan Wyant there, so they're going to have a strong lineup. Their pitching is going to be pretty solid. They got Frank Siriano, Doug Morose, and Quinn Holt. So, I think they're going to be a solid bunch.
At number 19, somebody you'll be seeing this weekend, Northwest Florida. Tell us about them, Tad.
Well, Northwest Florida has a pair of brothers to be on the top of their rotation, Malachi Witherspoon and Kyson Witherspoon. Both strong right-handed pitchers. Malachi was drafted last year professionally and, decided to take his game to Northwest Florida with Coach Doug Martin over there. Does a great job. Position-wise, they're going to be solid. I mean, they got Kendry Maduro, one of the top middle infielders in the country, and Blake Cavell, also a guy who's going to be able to swing the bat. He's headed to Western Kentucky. And, they got other good players like Alex Irvin, so they're going to have a pretty strong lineup, pretty strong pitching staff. I think this is a well-rounded ball club and built to win some games this year.
At number 18, Snead State. I know very little about this team. What do they got?
Right. Well, Snead State out of Alabama, made a great run last year. They went to Grand Junction. They're going to be a very formidable opponent in a tough Alabama conference region. And, they're led by two big, strong, athletic kids, Carter Frederick, outfielder, and Trey Higgins, outfielder. I mean, they got some big, strong kids here who are physical, can swing the bat, can run, throw, and do pretty much everything. Got good tools. Behind the plate, they got Mason Cooper, and they got infielder Kobe Wilkerson. On the mound, they got Cody Williams and Jeb Bartle, who will be kind of hanging, getting those innings going. And then Will Tarpley and Evan Steckmesser also will kind of solidify what is a good deep staff there. Should be able to keep them in a lot of games.
Sounds like they're a team to watch. So, at number 17, we have Florence Darlington.
Well, Florence Darlington has been a real strong club. I mean, they're perennially one of the better teams in the country. This year, they got two real good pitching prospects in left-handed pitcher Cam Dunlap and right-handed pitcher Matt Driver. They also have Landon Gaddis, who's going to get some good innings for them, as well as Jaden Martin. In the field, they got a strong group with Noah Stout, Anderson Folk, outfielder, and they got Dylan Johnson behind the plate. Also, look for some good things out of Ben Venables, Javier Crespo, and Harris Salata. I mean, they got a strong, deep lineup that should be able to produce some runs, and they're going to have enough pitching to really be a force this year.
I like hearing about those position players, Tad. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're like I said, a real strong club, and see some real good things happening for them. Yeah, definitely got some players and some depth too.
Tad. So at number 16, you've got Florida Southwestern. Maybe they've got some position players too.
Yeah, Florida Southwestern. They got a new head coach over there, Zach Cole. And, he's going to be a good leader for them in this program. They definitely have some talent, led by the big right-handed pitcher, Kellen Hoover, They also got Tyler Kennedy. Both these kids are uh, players are, at the top of the JUCO pitching list, and are some of the better pitchers in the country. They also got left-hander Adam Dollar and right-hander Joe Van Gill. Will be guys for them also. And then at semester they got a nice pickup in Marty Gare from UNC Wilmington. Who's going to throw maybe mid to upper 90s. So, I mean, he's going to be a big factor for them. I think he's supposed to pitch on Saturday this weekend, and looking forward to seeing him for the first time. Yeah, and the offense, they're pretty loaded too. They got a transfer from Mineral area last year, Derek Williams, who's one of the leaders in the nation last year at the junior college level in home runs. He had 25 homers last year. Just a big bopper bat at hit in the middle of that lineup. And then they got infielders Arias Samek, who's a strong defensive player as well as offensive player. And then, they got A.J. Shaver and Sergio Rivera in the outfield for them.
I'm excited for you to get to see them play this weekend. So number 15 is Dyersburg State, also a team I don't know much about myself.
Yeah, Dyersburg State, saw them this fall at the Puma Classic, the real strong team. They got some good, strong pitching and some depth, too. They got Anthony Figueroa, left-handed pitcher who last year was one of the top strikeout leaders in junior college baseball. And they also got Preston Martinez, also both those kids going to Kansas State. And then they got, strength and depth, and the right-handed pitcher, Kevin Matos, Dylan King, and Chris Gorey are all, ranked top pitchers in the junior college baseball by us. Offensively, they got, led by Pierre Seals. He's going to Memphis. He's a strong, big, athletic kid. They got Andy Martin in the outfield. And then they got infielder, right-handed pitcher Drew Polite, who was the son of former major leaguer Cliff Polite. So good things. They got a good, strong catchers behind the plate with Wesley Mann and Adrian Salas, who did a great job in the MLB Draft League last year as a young kid, and did a real good job. So he should be a factor for them behind the plate.
Ah, yes. Coming in at number 14, one of your favorites, Tad, Crowder. Tell us about them.
Crowder. Yeah, Crowder, again, they went to the World Series last year. Always has a strong group of players. Travis Lallemand, the head coach there, does just an outstanding job getting these players in. They were going to be a little younger this year when I saw them in the fall. They had catcher, Joe Reed, infielder Josh Livingston. And then a guy I really like to watch play is this Houston King, an outfielder for him. He's their leadoff man. He kind of sets the table for them. Can make things happen both up at the plate, on the bases, and it's got a little pop in the bat too. So I mean, he's going to be a factor and kind of lead that lineup. And then the one thing that they needed was a top of the rotation guy. Last year they had Jacob Mizorowski, who went in the second round of the MLB draft last year, threw over 100 miles an hour. They didn't have kind of a big guy like that to lean on, but they got a transfer in from Arkansas, Nick Moten. So, he's a really strong, got great stuff, got a strong arm, and, he should be the top guy in that staff. They got Josh Barnhouse, who's threw a lot of innings for them last year, real strong kid, as well as Riley Hunsaker. They got a young pitcher, Ethan Voss, Gage Watson. Just going to have good depth now. But, I think they really got what they needed in Nick Moten. Hopefully he can fill the bill for them.
Another strong contingency at 13, Wabash Valley.
Yeah, Wabash Valley out of Illinois here. They got Aaron Biddle as a first-year head coach. Rob Fournier, who'd been there forever and had built that program into a powerhouse. He headed to Western Kentucky over there and is going to do a great job over there. But they're in good hands here with Aaron Biddle, and I think they're going to have a great season under him. They got left-handed pitcher Jackson Sosi, who's one of the top top 10 pitchers in the junior college baseball. And then they got Louis Philippe Langevin also as one of their top two guys. And then they got depth on the staff too. Guys like Agnel Miranda, Jacob Frost, Sherez Butcher, who's a transfer from Gulf Coast down in Florida last year. I saw him down there. He has good stuff. And Luke Leverton. If all these guys, bring together their talent, I think they should have a very good, strong pitching staff. In the field, they're led by Thomas Bean, Emil Torres, and then they got some strong candidates behind the plate with George Rodriguez and Daniel Contreras. Also, a good player for them is infielder Luke Oden.
And at number 12, the always strong Miami-Dade. They got players. Tell us about some of them, Tad.
Yeah, they're really good offensively this year. I mean, they could really swing the bat. They got one of the top hitters in the country with Woo-Yul Shin. He's a Korean kid. And then they got Alex Uloa, who was drafted in the 4th round by the Astros a couple of years back. He went to Yavapai last year, and then he's now down at Miami-Dade. He's headed to Florida for a 4-year school, but between Shin and Uloa, and then they got Max Galvin and Jose Hernandez in the outfield, so they should have a very strong lineup. I mean, just guys should be able to swing the bat and do some great things with the bat. Joseph Zamora too. Don't want to forget him. He could swing the bat pretty good. On the mound, they got left-handed pitcher Herrick Hernandez is going to be kind of their ace, and they also got Irvis Solis, another left-handed pitcher, and Julian Mlodzinski is going to be a guy who's going to be a strong starter for them. So they got a pretty well-balanced club here, like I said, especially strong on the offensive side, and should do some really good things.
All right, I like to hear about some damage being done at the plate for Miami-Dade. But now, at number 11, tell us about John A. Logan.
Well, John Logan's a team that I really think is going to be very strong this year. I saw them play real well in the fall. They're led by a couple of top players in junior college with outfielder Ben Higdon, who's going to Kentucky, and Vitas Valencias, who's going to Illinois. Well, those guys alone are going to be the middle of the order for them and really be able to swing the bats and be good run producers for them. They also got Trey Hondras, a good, strong, athletic outfielder, Will Carpenter at shortstop, Gavin Baldwin. They got Nick Giammarusti behind the plate, who may be the fastest player in junior college baseball this year. He's about a 6'2", 60 guy. He can really run and make some things happen. And then they're kind of anchored behind the plate by Carson Kennedy, who's going to be a strong player for them both offensively and defensively. Pitching wise, they got Jackson Lee back. He's a strong guy. I really like his competitive nature. A real strong bulldog type of guy on the mound. Also brace and shoe right-handers. They got left-handed pitchers, Brandon Keister and Josh Dima. That'll give them a little contrast from the left and right side. And then you can't forget, they got another some real deep guys also on the staff who got some good velocity and stuff. Jack Hoyman, Stetson Marion, Matt Tarr, and Drew Pesca. Tarr and Pesca are guys that I think are gonna really be good for them this year. So they got a well balanced team. They got offense, they got defense. They can pitch, and I'm expecting some big things. That's always a big battle down there in Southern Illinois between Logan and Wabash Valley. So that won't disappoint anybody this year again, because those two are going to be going after each other again.
All right, all right, all right. Now for our top 10 in the Division 1 junior college rankings. At number 10, a team over here on the west side, Salt Lake. What about them, Tad?
Yeah, Salt Lake, they had a really strong year this year. Just we're a game away from knocking off defending national champions, Central Arizona on their way to the World Series, and they just had a tough loss there to them. But they really battled, and they're an up and coming program. They're kind of my sleeper team out west. I mean, people in junior college baseball know they're good, but I think people from the outside kind of don't realize how good of a program they got. And plus they got one of the best scenic views too. Is you sit at their ballpark and you see those beautiful mountains out in center field. So it's not a bad place to watch a game either. So
Yeah, man. Always pick a room with a view, right?
yeah, so they got offensively on. They got outfielder Jackson Weatherly, who was hit like 360 last year. They got infielder Chip Beck, uh, corner out infielder Daniel Gonzalez is a good strong player for them, and then they got outfielder Preston Wingett, who's going to be a nice player for them also. So they got a strong lineup coming back, and they're going to be able to produce some runs, and I think they'll do a good job offensively. On the mound, they got back Dax Purser, who was outstanding last year, and he'll be that way again for them this year at the top of the rotation. They got right-handed pitcher Shea Timmer also, who's headed to Utah, and then look for good things out of Oregon State transfer Kyle Keys. They got Jordan Pace and James Berry also to throw for them on the mound. So they're gonna have some good things to, some depth on the mound too. So solid club.
Right. Well, sticking with the Great West, we've got Cochise coming in at number 9.
Yeah, Cochise, I really like their club. I saw a lot of their players this fall, and they got one guy. One of my favorite guys this year is Eduardo Martinez. I mean, he is a strong physical specimen who can really will really produce for him in the middle of the order. They got outfielders Gerardo Hernandez, and outfielder, Labardo Melendez, also good athletes, good strong guys. So they should have one of the top outfielders in the country. They got infielders Makai DeSoto and Joe Lindahl also will be good players for them. On the top of the staff is returner Marco Azuno, who's just a bulldog for them. Last year pitched in all the big games, a seasoned veteran guy who's going to have a big year for them this year too. They got also left-handed pitcher Evan Shaw, who's headed to Kansas, as well as right-handed pitcher Fernando Beretta, who I really like, and as well as Martin Miranda. So this is going to be a really strong team. They got, like I said, that tough conference out in Arizona there, where they got very heavy competition, but I think these guys are up for the battle this year.
Sounds like everybody will have their hands full in competition this year. A lot of good games. So at number 8, we have good old Chipola. Tell us about them, Ted.
Yeah, well, I think they're kind of they had some really good strong players last year, and Cam Collier, who was a first rounder, and Kenny Huggins, I think, won the 4th round last year. I mean, both just guys who let them on the mound and in the field. So they had a good strong club last year. But they at Chipola you don't with Jeff Johnson over there you don't rebuild, you reload, and so he reloaded with some pretty good players. Right-handed pitcher Carter Daniels is one of the top pitchers in the country. They got strong, a big arm, and Drew Howard, who will probably be coming out of the bullpen for them and closing things down. They got left-handed pitcher Robert Evans and Chase Nelson, and Dylan Haynes, who are going to be strong for them also. They also got another right-handed pitcher, Brogan Napier, who's got a good arm for them. Offensively, they got some pretty good players with Jean-Pierre Ortiz and Eddie and Espinal up the middle. Both good, really solid defensive guys as well as offensive players. Good all-around players. Ortiz can also pitch too. He'll run it up to 96 off the mound also, so he could come out of the pen for them also. Yep, yeah. The old call the guy in from shortstop in the ninth and watch him throw 96. So it's not a bad option to have. So, and then they also got strong players like Eli Birch behind the plate and Brady Browning, also a good infielder. So they got some strong guys. And then don't want to forget the thunder of Evan Ames at first base. So they're going to be strong. Chipotle is always good. Like I said, tough competition in the Panhandle there, but they're always up for it.
Well, you'll be able to give us a better first-hand report after seeing them this weekend, Tad, and I can't wait to hear that. So at number 7, we have Walter State. How about them?
Yeah, well, Walter State last year sat in the number 1 spot in the rankings most of the year. Last year, they went to Grand Junction. They, had a great team. Not only did they have talent last year, they had a lot of depth and just had one of the stronger clubs that I've seen, and went to the World Series last year, did well. I'm sure they're disappointed they didn't finish the job, but they had a great season. We're a hard team to beat, period. So, but what do you do after you got all those good players? They won 60 games last year, so after you trying to replace those players are tough. But they got a good start here. They got Cruz Newman coming back for him, who had 13 homers last year, really swung the bat real well. So they got him at the top of the, a guy to count on to produce some runs. They got Curtis Reed, Angus Pence. They got Jackson Bryan, Cole McCallum, and Preston Wright in their lineup. All strong guys. Bryan's real good behind the plate and will do a good job with that pitching staff. The pitching staff is going to be where it's going to be interesting for them. Landon Crumbly had a lot of innings last year for them and got some good experience. So he's going to be one of their main guys. They also got Jackson Hull and Luke Ferguson. And then a guy that they got in from Coastal Bend last year is Preston Allen. Now he's a big 6'3" kid who can really bring it, and he's got a good arm, and if he pitches the way they think he can, he's going to be a huge factor for them in the rotation, and really be a guy that's going to help them win quite a few games. They're a team that's a year in and year out. Dave Shelton does a great job there, so he'll have these guys ready to play and compete against all the top competition in the country.
I know this team is good, but I don't know much about them, Tad. This is number 6, Cowley.
Well, Cowley last year went to the championship game of the World Series in Grand Junction against Central Arizona. They had a hell of a battle with them too, and just barely missed out being national champs. And they're a good, solid club. They made a great run last year. They played some of their best baseball, especially at the end. And I think they'll be back to as strong as ever. Under Coach Darren Burrows there. This year they're going to have to replace some people in the lineup with, they got Logan Vaughn behind the plate, outfielder Ty Hammock, outfielder Trayson Miller, and Hayden Toole. Then they got Carson Hunt also is a good guy who could swing the bat for them. And, they're going to be strong in the lineup again. On the mound, they got maybe some question marks, but, they got pretty capable people also with left-handed pitcher Chance Cox, Carlton Perkins is a guy who's got some talent for them, and they're expecting big things out of him this year, as well as left-handed pitcher Brigden Parker and Chance Condit. I think these guys will put it together and make a good run again. They got a series early in the year against McLennan, late February, I believe it is, and that'll give them a little battle testing early on, and see what they got. So but this again is a strong program. They should be up there when it's all said and done again.
At number 5, we have Iowa Western.
Yeah, Iowa Western, they got a new coach over there, Ryan Cowgill. Mark Rardin, the guy who really did a great job with that program, building that program over there. He's the head coach at Western Kentucky now. So, Ryan comes in as a seasoned veteran, though. I mean, he built a great program at Yavapai in Arizona, and is really going to do some great things, I think, here with this program. And they got some studs up at the top of their game here. One being the top player in what we think in all of junior college baseball is in Marcus Phillips. He's headed to Tennessee, and here's a big, strong athlete who just has got a fastball. Throw 95, maybe even better sometimes, with some good breaking balls, and really is going to be a menace at the top of the rotation, along with now they got two other guys, Noah Bush and Jared Lessman, who are both going to Louisville to play, and are just top guys. So they got 3 top pitchers in junior college baseball, to anchor their staff, and they're going to be really solid then too. Also, they got Stephen Montgomery also, as well as several other pitchers who they can rely on to do some things. So they're going to have some depth in the pitching staff. Offensively, they got AJ Singer and Brandon Rogers, who are going to be strong for them, as well as Ty Wood. So I think this is the year as a team. I think they were a little disappointed last year. They didn't make that run to Grand Junction. They're going to have to tangle with Logan and either Logan and or Wabash Valley this year to go to the Grand Junction. But I think they're really set up nicely. I think their rotation's really going to hold up for them, and they're going to be one of the better teams in the country come this spring.
Wow, that is a glowing report for Iowa Western. I'm excited to hear about how their season starts. At number 4, Central Florida. We know they always have a competitive.
Well, Central Florida had a great year last year. They went to the College World Series and did really well. I mean, they knocked off Miami-Dade, perennial power down there, to get to Grand Junction. And Marty Smith does a great job with that program, and he's really brought in some pretty good players. So they're going to be big time ready to go. I think we'll see them this weekend. They're led on their staff with right-handed pitcher Brian Holiday, who's just got some dirty stuff. I mean, he's got this big curveball, sharp downer, and really can run it up there velo-wise. And I think he's one of the top prospects in the country, JUCO-wise, and as well as they got Emmanuel Dooley, big 6'8" kid who can throw. Cam Schulke, little side armor out of the bullpen, who's going to be a factor for them. As well as James Hill, and Logan Presencia will be also strong. Offensively, they're going to be led by transfer Brad Keylori, who came over from Wabash Valley last year, hit 4-something last year, and had a great year offensively. He's headed for Tennessee, and he's one of the top position players in the country. So they got 2, big time players to lead the charge here, along with outfielder Carson Bain and Kanan George, and Thaddeus Ector is going to be good, strong players for them. And they're going to have some guys in that lineup who are going to make names for themselves also. They'll be ready to go this weekend, and, I'm looking forward to seeing them play.
Another team you'll be putting eyes on this weekend, Tad. And now it's time for our top three win, place, or show. And at number 3, an old faithful, McLennan. What do you got to say on McLennan, Tad?
They got a new head coach. Mitch Thompson went over to Baylor and is the head coach at Baylor. And their assistant, Tyler Johnson, took over. And he's been there for a while. He's a very capable guy. And, I don't see them, having any transition stage. I think these guys are ready to go. He brought in a great team this year and saw some really good playing out of them this fall. They're led basically by Ty Johnson, their center fielder. He's a table setter. He's he's a strong athletic kid who's, just can get on base, steal some bases, and do some great things for them. He's headed to Baylor. They got Cole Dillon behind the plate. And Jason Hawkins also. Cole Dillon is their mainstay catcher, who's headed to Arizona. Jason Hawkins is a great defensive catcher who can really catch and throw, and he's going to be a big factor. They might have the best catching duo in the country in junior college baseball, between Dillon and Hawkins. They also got Chase Brown, who's headed to Purdue, and then catcher Halligan, who could really swing the bat for them, and Mateo Zeppieri is going to be good for them and strong for them in their lineup, returning from last year's team. On the mound, they just really got some really good pitchers. Devin Bennett, who's one of the, I think, the top 5 pitchers in junior college baseball. He's a big right-handed pitcher. He'll run it up to 96, 97, and, pitched for them last year. He's headed to Kansas, and he's going to be kind of the ace of that staff. They got 2 lefties in Trenton Shaw and Kindon Lavelle, who are going to be really big factors for them. Both of those guys got great arms and great stuff. And then you got Will Clements, who probably be out of the bullpen for them, who really has good stuff also. So, they got guys in rotation who are going to come at you full force, and it's going to be hard to get in a weekend series with them, and they're gonna be a tough team to handle. So, I expect McLennan to, do things like they always do, taking care of business and really being one of the top programs in the country.
Certainly high praise coming from you, Tad. And now at number 2, San Jacinto. Good old San Jack, always featuring a good ball club.
No, just like you said, when the days when you used to need to get out of that Houston office there with the Astros and, go over and see San Jack in the afternoon. And, they're loaded with talent again. And, Tom Arrington over there does a great job. And, I think they're going to be loaded and ready to go. I really like their offense this year. They're going to be really strong. They're led by Jake Bennett. This guy's a monster, and he can not only swing for power, but it will hit for high average too, and just be an impact guy for them this year. The other guy is third baseman Colin Horowitz, who's headed to North Carolina. He's going to be a strong middle of the order guy for them. And, they're just going to have some strong players to produce plenty of runs. Trey Rucker in the outfield is going to be strong. They got Armani Sanchez at shortstop, who I really like as a player. And, they're going to have other guys that, are going to swing the bat for them. And, they're going to be a hard team to shut down, if you're an opposing pitcher. They just got a lot to offer. They got a great leader behind the plate and catcher Jose Torres, who is just does a great job defensively and can swing the bat too. And he's gonna be catching a heck of a pitching staff. I mean, they're pretty loaded with pitchers. They got Cale Lansville, a transfer from LSU. They got John Paul Ramos, Titan Hayes, Gage Boehm. Guys who all can really bring it. They got left-handed pitcher Chase Roberts. coming also, as well as the veteran Lex Garcia. And I don't know if more people know this, but they changed their name this year to the Ravens. So a little different look for them, but the talent, same talented club as they always have. No more Gators.
Well, you know what they say, change is as good as the rest. But now we've come to our number one seed in our rankings of the top 25 Division One junior college baseball teams. Tad, you have put Central Arizona on top. Tell us why.
Yeah, and look for a future podcast with Anthony Gillich. We had a chance to talk to him the other day about his team and their run. I mean, last year they made an amazing run to the World Series, and they had a tough hoe of it. I mean, and all these teams, don't get me wrong, as good as these teams are, there's no easy way for most of these teams. I mean, everybody's gotta earn their way, and they're gonna have to go through some tough talent to get there. Just like Central Arizona went through last year, they faced an elimination game in every round that they played in, and they got tossed in the losers bracket in Grand Junction after the first game, facing a tough Crowder team, and they came back and won. Last year they were real resilient, and they're going to be loaded with talent again this year. The Vaqueros, they're going to have Tyrese Johnson, Blake Avila, who's headed to Grand Canyon. Blake, the first baseman, can swing the bat. And then, they got the veteran Ashton Webb. Ashton is, a strong hitting outfielder, a good leader for them. And, I know they're counting on him to produce in the lineup and do the things that he's always done for them. He had a great year last year, and I think, again, this year he's going to do well. You think, sometimes when you're trying to replace pitchers, it's difficult, but it's not seemed so this year for them. They got some good pitching. Ryan Schaefer's their kind of top guy. He's headed to Arizona State. You got Matt Wilkinson, left-handed pitcher, also going to Arizona State. I mean, Matt Wilkinson they call Tug, and he just left-handed pitcher bulldog who gets things done. He got great stuff, and he's a guy almost like Tug McGraw used to be. That's probably why they call him Tug. And he gets out there, and he's a very emotional, but he gets the job done. I really like him. And then they got 6'7", right-handed pitcher Patrick Stites, who was a top pitcher last year for them and will be a top pitcher again. He's headed to Kansas, and they got some really strong pitching, so they should be tough to deal with in a short series here. Also got Josiah George, also for them, and a right-handed pitcher Daniel Davila. So they got some strong depth, not only on the mound but in the field. They got another pitcher, Tommy Brandenburg, who's headed to Washington for them. They got Luke Thiel at shortstop, headed to Purdue. A good anchor, good solid defensive guy who can also swing the bat. And the guy I really like for them, who is going to anchor all this, I believe, for them, is Lou Albrecht. I think Lou is one of the best catchers, if not the best catcher in junior college baseball this year. He can catch and throw, guns runners down, could shut down the running game, and, he'll be able to swing the bat with some pop in it too. So, they're definitely going to have a full force of players out there, and, they're going to be tough to beat. Not to say they have their many challenges this year, but, they got a chance to repeat. It's tough to repeat, but, I think this team has a chance. So that's it.
Well, that is it. But actually, things are just getting started as we're opening the JUCO baseball season this weekend. Tad, I believe you're heading out on the road to Florida. So wishing you safe travels and good weather as always, and lots of great baseball. I know you'll see your eyes full. So we'll be looking forward to hearing your reports on the players, on the teams, and all things JUCO next week on our episode. And thanks for having me. It's just a lot of fun to hear your evaluations of the teams and players.
Yeah, more. It's starting tomorrow. So I mean, I just love being out at these junior college games. Love seeing these players. Watching them develop. If I didn't get a chance to see them this fall, I saw them last year on their teams, and it just is great to have that to see them in action. Not just hear about them through other ways and means. It's good to see them in action and really see what they can do and what they can produce on the field. So it's a pleasure. It's going to be another great year, labor of love, and really looking forward to getting cranked up tomorrow in Auburndale.
Tad, as the 2023 JUCO season starts, tell us what you'll be doing, where you'll be, and who you'll see.
Well, this weekend I'll be down in Auburndale, Florida, seeing the top programs in Florida. Central Florida, be there, Florida Southwestern, Chipola, a lot of good clubs. Polk State will be there, Indian River. I mean, just the talent is going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of these top players that we have ranked in the country, as well as these top teams we have ranked in the country. So it'll be a great weekend. It'll be warm too, no snow.
Yeah, that's the real reason you're going to Florida this weekend, to get out of the snow. I don't blame you.
All right, we'll be jamming next week too, so I look forward to it. It's been a pleasure with you, Lou, and I look forward to being with you again.
Thanks, Tad. Well, whoo-wee! I hope the fishing's fine and play ball.
Yeah, baseball. We love it.
You've been listening to JUCO Jam. For all your junior college needs, go to dreambigathletics.com and make sure to tune in to next week's episode of JUCO Jam.